everyone. Welcome back to the Encouraging Woman She Speaks podcast, episode 10.
Woo! Double digits.
I am your host, Ashley D.
Ooh,
with my co-host, Dr. Stone.
come on.
Come on, Doc.
I think it's just something how you just say Dr. Storm. It makes me feel good.
Come
like
on.
I went to school and worked.
Listen, I'm proud of you, man. I swear, I promise, I'm so proud of you. Like, I can't believe it. We made it to double digits.
Man, this is amazing.
What?
It is.
Looking at our journey from January to now, we'll be in the month of May.
Yes. Wow. And we've been consistent with the podcast. We've been consistent with showing up through daily lives, coming to give the word. Ooh.
Yes, I'm telling you today, I was saying to myself, I was like, what is today? Oh, it's Tuesday.
Showtime.
Showtime today. Just in that work and thinking about the weekend from dealing with Memorial Day weekend and just continuously working. Y'all, I have been working 16 days nonstop.
That's a lot.
Talk about needing a break.
So this is a good topic then.
Yes, it is. It really is. I was so excited because of the fact that we are looking at mental health.
Yeah.
I think about my journey for the past 2 years since having my little one, and having this journey of just mental health and just not realizing how important it is to have the discussion, the candidness of it, and just recognizing that it's okay to not be okay.
It is okay to not be okay. You know, before we get inside of our topic for today, I have to give you so many kudos. You did such a good job. The second annual gala for Red Learning Academy.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Oh, man.
We sold out. The
Yes.
band was amazing. The speakers was amazing, but our keynote, you brought the house down.
And listen, I was just like, Lord, use me.
No, he definitely used you. But one of the things that stood out to me, because one of the reasons why I always say with the gala is to make sure that we're giving nuggets. You talked about becoming. And I think, and I know it was just so refreshing because you hit 3 bullet points. Yeah. And I'm still, I'm still full. And you talked about embracing the journey.
Yes.
The process. And a lot of people want to skip the process, skip the journey, and just say, you know what, I want to become a millionaire. Yeah. But one of the things that you said was a bullet point number 1. You say embrace the process.
You have to. You have to.
And then you talked about the shifting process. Listen, y'all, Ashley D was up. I never heard Ashley D preach the way she preached.
Come on now.
Honey, you was in a preacher.
I was, man. I didn't even realize it as I prepared for the speech. I just kept saying, God, use me. Use me as much as you can. Help me get the word out there to know which direction I'm going with my life. And when I just came up with it, I was just like, hold on, we got to go historical. We got to go biblical. We got to start giving the facts of the matter. The black and white don't change. Like, that's just what it is. So it was one thing for me. I said to one of my friends, I said, becoming is such an uncomfortable feeling.
It is.
But it's something that you have to do. Because if you don't, you're not going to grow. You're not going to become the best version of yourself.
Right.
So just doing that was just like, okay, I can do it.
Yeah. You did so good, and one of the things that you said, and I think is so healthy with this topic, because our topic today is mental health. You talked about aligning with your purpose, and when you're trying to do the will of God, and when you're trying to align with your purpose, that mental health is something serious. I was having a conversation really quickly with my cousin today, and I was telling her, as an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what you go through, you cannot stop.
No.
Because there's so many things and so many people that's dependent on you that you got to show up. So I'm ready for this topic because it's much needed. It is. Especially in our community, because we really don't. We're talking about mental health. I can't say that. It has gotten to the point of being such a popular topic, but also suicide is still on the rise.
It's definitely on the rise.
Unhappiness, depression, all of those things are still on the rise. So what are we doing wrong?
I don't think it's anything that we're doing wrong. I just think life is lifing, like they say.
Woo.
And we're learning how to adjust with it as our generation from the 80s babies. We're getting to the point right now where we're seeing what our parents went through and how they went to church. They did everything to make sure their household was together. And now we have to do the same exact thing. We're like, how do they do that?
Right.
If you weren't on your knees praying, because grandma was doing that, so
Come
it makes
on.
you do the same exact thing for yourself.
Praying woman.
So I look at myself and I'm just like, ooh, now I get it. I get why Mary Curry was in that room praying all the time for us, even those that she wasn't able to talk to in the family.
Right.
She was praying for them.
Right.
So that's the same thing now for our generation, and I just know for a fact, like I saw today someone that was in class that graduated with me from high school, and they're going through something with their child, and I said, wow. Like, you never know what people are going through, rather if it's a medical situation their child's going through. I don't care if it's cancer. I don't care if they're cutting up in the streets. You just got to pray.
Yeah. Because
the power of prayer is just, it moves mountains. So,
and that's why I know that this is going to be such a good topic. Ms. Laurenia is about to bring the house down.
Come on now. We get ready to close out this mental health awareness month. And that's just what we're doing with this podcast. We want to make sure that our audience is learning, they're growing, they're getting some type of benefit. And I think that's what makes our podcast stand out amongst all the others. Not knocking and shading anyone, but you got to have something of substance where people are going to actually want to watch and tune in. So, come on, substance.
I'm going to behave today, y'all. I'm going to behave.
So, that is the biggest thing right now. I mean, I had a great time. The gala was amazing. Dr. Storm, I'm so proud of you. I'm honored to be able to say that Dr. Storm is my line sister. And we're laughing because we know we come from a genuine place, guys. The way we are with each other is just how we are on and off the camera.
It's just authentic. What you see, nothing is stage and nothing is practice.
That's just it. We just flow. So at the end of the day, I want to say it was an amazing experience, and I'm so looking forward to next year.
That's right.
Because I know it's gonna be even bigger.
Come on, talk to me.
Listen, I don't know how we gonna cap this year upstage, but it's gonna happen. It was a great time. I kid you not, and it was just an experience. I think everyone in the room felt the love. They felt important. I mean, from the photography to just the live band.
The band brought the house down.
Y'all. Dr. Storm got a bad team, y'all.
If you want to view any details, go to Red Learning Red Learning Academy on all social media platforms. You're able to view it. But I'm ready to hop in this episode.
Come on, y'all. Today, of course, we are talking about strategy sessions with Laurenia Fahie. She's an amazing licensed mental health counselor.
I love it.
Amazing colleague of mine, y'all. I'm thankful for this woman. I've been on a journey with her from day one. And I was sitting there, I was driving on my way here, and I was like, man, Laurenia been in the paint with me. And when I say the paint, guys, I've gone through some things for the past 2 years. And I don't know where I would be right now if I didn't have Laurenia to be able to call and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. She specializes when it comes to law enforcement officers. Just mental health counseling that we may deal with on a day-to-day basis. She's a mentor. She's a mommy. She's an entrepreneur. She is the vice president for the Fort Lauderdale Black Police Officers Association.
And the life of the party.
Stop playing with Laurenia.
I just remember meeting her at the event that you guys had, and I was like, man, she's phenomenal.
She is.
And just a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
And I love it, especially as an African-American woman.
Yes.
She gives herself so much to her community, but she's knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable.
And she's accurate.
Listen.
And she's authentic.
Very authentic. She's taught me so much about confidence, walking into the room and you own that room. I mean, just from me being a host for the past couple months, I learned so much from her.
Yes.
I try to learn things each day. I try to gravitate as much as I can. And just walking into the room and owning it. You can have on a full gown. Guess what? They're going to love you. You got to show no skin.
Ooh.
You just walk in there and you own the room.
That's right.
So without any further ado, we're going to bring my good friend, my good girlfriend.
I'm an honorary member.
That part. Miss Laurenia Fahie.
Man, after that introduction, I was wondering who y'all talking about. I was like, I want to meet her too.
You are just amazing. You are just amazing. You're such a breath of fresh air. I remember the first day when I met you, we were working the detail, and you were like, no, baby, let me show you how to do this.
Ooh.
Let me show you how to do this. Make sure them people know who you are.
Thank you.
And that's just it. That was just what it just. Oh my gosh, you such a breath of fresh air. I kid you not. And the fact that you take on such a load each day and still do it flawless.
With a smile.
All the time.
It's like, I always say that when someone meets me, I want them to have an experience that it lasts beyond nations to come. And I remember when I met you, I'm like, oh my God. You make people want to know, who are you?
Listen.
Who
Because Laurenia's like, that's Dr. Storm, right? And I was like, yup, go get a girl.
Exactly. No. I was like, that's the Dr. Storm.
Yes, you definitely were. I was like, go get her. I said, y'all gonna connect and it's gonna be fireworks.
But I told
you are truly amazing.
First and foremost, I appreciate all the accolades. If ever you have low self-esteem, just tune into encouraging women. Talk about encouragement. Talk about encouragement.
Give them a little bit of encouragement.
Living up. You are truly living up to this.
Trying to do what God's telling me to do. That's it.
Right now.
We got this. I always say that. That was always my hashtag.
So
like,
appreciate that. Man, I feel like a mic drop with all this intro. I'm like, come on. Who is she? Let me
Come on now.
Like, they talking about me?
Yes, absolutely. Come on now. We had to.
That's awesome.
So we want to start with,
goodness.
You are so welcome.
Let me say, I was at the gala. For who was not at the gala, that's your loss, because you missed out. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. We had a time.
Yes,
we had a time. It was wonderful. The speakers, the overall mood, and then you had Miss Sharon from the community come and talk. You had, I think, the president of I can't keep up with the sorority. So whichever one this one is.
Dr. Nadeo Stevens.
Girl, you had Miss Paula, bless the food, and I thought
we love Miss Paula. Like, stop playing with her.
Let me tell you something.
I was telling you, Miss Paula and I go way back. She used to do my hair back in the day.
Shut up.
So it was like, oh my God, to see Miss Paula bring the house down, and all she was doing was blessing the food. I'm done, y'all.
You know, everybody was like, why didn't she keep preaching? And I said, shit. Next time, I'm gonna let her loose. Next time. But you know what?
Amazing.
When God talks about amazing people and just coming into your lives, you know, my aunt is amazing. She prays for Red Learning Academy every year before the school starts, and she walks every classroom from the bathroom to the cafeteria to each room, and she spends her time in each classroom covering the students, the staff, the parents, and also covering just everybody. And she does it, I think. Don't make me cry.
Don't get her started.
Don't make me cry.
Yes.
And then, you know, the band, y'all was moving with the band.
Listen, we're talking about mental health, but I tell you what, you need that. You need that. You need people, like Asher said, that will go hard in the paint for you. You need that. And so to see everyone just show up and just pour in whatever their function was, it was just amazing. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. I can't wait till next year.
Yes.
We're gonna have everybody back, from Ron Hunter in the Vibe Nation to Bobby Dixon in the pool. Everybody's coming back. But I'm just
and let's not forget the keynote. Listen.
And she said, listen, Miss Laurenia, I had to sit there because I was taking a pause. Because I know all aspects of Ashley. You know, I know Ashley. I know Ashley Williams. I know every aspect. But I had to sit there and say, who is this?
Yeah, she
Girl, you preach.
Yeah. She's like, the first sermon. I was like,
yes.
But it was so good though. It was really good.
You did a phenomenal job.
Thank you so much.
And the decor, the food, the music, everything was wonderful. And so
my
kudos
baby's
to you, Dr. Storm. Kudos to you, Red Learning Academy. I pray that you have many, many, many more years of blessings, and to watch the babies come and testify and talk about their experience at the Academy. And that, I mean, come on, just amazing. So kudos. I can't say
I got me all blushing, about to cry, but
I got her tissue ready.
Amazing. You did a phenomenal job.
Oh God, Miss Laurenia, you know what? You a bad girl, Miss Laurenia.
Listen. I tell people all the time, I wish I could take the credit. I really can. Yeah. I really can. Yes. Listen, I'll say this and take it for what it is. Had it not been for the Lord who was on my side.
Come on now.
That's all I got for you.
Yes.
That's all I got for you. So I don't take credit. I'm grateful, but I take credit for nothing.
Right.
That's right.
Yes. So just tell us, we're going to get started. We're going to jump right into it. Tell us, who is Laurenia? Tell us all about you. I mean, we touched on a little bit. Tell us your journey. Talk about it.
Wow. So for many years, I defined myself a whole lot of different ways. But now I simply use, I'm a servant.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
But whatever is needed in that moment, I'm grateful that God has given me the ability to serve. And so that is who I am. I'm a servant. I'm a servant. And I'm a mommy and I get to serve in that capacity.
That's right.
I'm a police officer and I get to serve in that capacity. I'm a mental health clinician and I get to serve in that capacity. I'm a girlfriend and I get to function in that capacity. One day I'm gonna be a wife and I'll get to function in that capacity.
Come on
now. So, yes. So I'm a lot of things, but at the heart of who I am, I'm a servant.
That's good. I like that.
And it's amazing you say servant. I remember when I became an officer and I didn't think about the fact that we're serving. Like I honestly, I was just like, I want to make more money, but I want to do something that's impactful. And I'm like, I guess I am a servant.
No, you aren't a servant. Yeah.
Like you really don't think about it in that magnitude, but it's just something that we just naturally tend to do.
Right.
We tend to serve. I mean, I don't care what position you're in, you're serving someone.
That's right.
From BPOA to law enforcement to you being the principal and who you are. We all have our respective positions. So
that's right.
I think that's important.
But you know what? It's interesting because when you serve so much, you tend to kind of just get burned out.
Come on.
Absolutely. Look at that segue. Absolutely. You do, because when you're not, and that helps us talk a little bit about acknowledging ourselves and being self-aware. Because if you're not, that burnout will you won't be connected to yourself enough to even acknowledge that it's happening.
Right.
And so when you're in tune with yourself, your body, I always say your body never fails. Your body will never fail you. It will forever give you a clue. If you're hungry, it gives you clues. It gives you those signals. If you're tired, it gives you those signals. If you need to go to sleep, you start yawning, it gives you those signals. Trust me, when you are burnt out, your body is giving you signals. We elect to ignore.
We ignore it.
We ignore it.
Stop telling my business.
Notice I didn't say y'all. I said we.
Because baby,
we are all on this journey, mutually on this journey together.
That's right.
So we don't acknowledge what's happening, but God is so good in how he puts us together, how he weaves us together, those things are not, they don't fall on the wayside. They're there. We just chose to silence them.
Yes.
Silence them. And so it's important for us to acknowledge all those things, because especially like for myself, if I'm saying that I'm a servant, if I have something to give, then how can I serve? And so it's very important for us to prioritize ourselves. It's very important for us to prioritize our needs and what our body is telling us. We have to be in tune with our bodies. And because we're women, oftentimes what happens? We're told that to do such a thing is selfish, is self-centered, However, if we don't, it's like telling your car, you're selfish if you need gas.
That's right.
We automatically go and gas up if the car needs gas. We don't debate about it. We don't shame the car for needing fuel. Yet and still, when we're in the same predicament, because we know that we're somewhat a machine.
Yes.
So we're going to need maintenance and we're going to need fuel.
Yes. Because the Bible does talk about it. Your body is your temple.
It is.
Absolutely. Yes. However, we are the ones that denigrate the temple. We're the ones. And so the first point of contact when it comes to the temple is you. And if if you're not the person standing guard, and if you're not the person acknowledging your temple, and if you're not the person taking the cues and doing what your body, because it will, not only would it give you cues, it'll tell you what it needs. Again,
yes, it does.
If it needs to rest, it will. If it needs a timeout, it'll tell you. If it needs, if it's being disrespected, it'll tell you. If it,
that's good. That's
like
being
that
disrespected.
Back up a little bit. Can I move forward? I have to back up right now.
No, you gotta pause a second.
So if it's disrespected, it's gonna tell you, because you're gonna feel a type of way. What do you say? You feel a type of way.
Yeah.
Because we as human beings are so intricately woven together and so perfectly woven together that all of those factors are already in place. It's not lacking at all. We are the ones that train ourselves not to hear ourselves. We do that to ourselves. Because sometimes when you hear the truth, it's hard.
Come on now.
It's hard. It's hard when you know, he cute now. He is cute. But he is disrespecting you. He denigrates you, and he doesn't honor you. And your body is telling you that in so many ways. And we opt to what? Because he's cute and because I want to keep him around. And more than that, I just don't want to be lonely. I just don't want to be lonely. Who wants to be? Because listen, it doesn't make a good Facebook pic when you're by yourself. And it's a lot more fun when you got your boo standing by you. And so a lot of us opt for, I will forgive the disrespect and the denigration so I can have someone standing by my side. Your body will tell you, it never fails. It never fails.
What Betty White does say, it's good to have a little piece of man. Not have none at all.
But think about that, though. Seriously, though.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
That is it's one of those things where you really have to. When you said when you disrespect your body, it hit home for me. For the simple fact of, especially as women, we're always saying, "Oh, I'm not going to let nobody disrespect me."
Oh, absolutely.
But we do it to ourselves all the time.
Without a doubt. It starts with you. The only way that disrespect becomes a part of your world if it was okayed by you. It just doesn't, because again, your body gives you those cues that, okay, that didn't sit right with me. Even if you don't know what that thing is, you know that it felt a certain kind of way. So your body is constantly giving you cues that something's amiss, something's wrong. And us women, let me tell you about women and our intuition.
Talk about it.
OMG. We have intuition, but what do? That is such a gift that we have been given as women. And yet, and still again, we find a way to silence that intuition. We find a way so that we could continue to justify what we know is bad for us. But then we want to say, I don't want to be disrespectful. No, it started with you. You gave it a
that's right.
You gave it a pass.
And like you say, Laurenia,
you gave it a pass.
The biggest thing, we women have the discernment. God gives us the discernment to understand what is happening.
That's right.
Men don't have it. They don't have that gift.
No.
We actually have it. And so when we're able to address those things that we're feeling, they think something's wrong, but it's the reality that God gives us the discernment of recognizing when our bodies are being disrespected or just being disrespected in general, where maybe it's not even.
The gift of discernment was the reason that he didn't give it to men is because he gave men other gifts.
Right.
He gave that to us because we have a distinct role as women. Certain things that we're supposed to do, one of which is standing guard at the house. So you can't
this is wisdom.
Listen, you can't detect when there's danger. When your husband is home and he's resting and you stand in guard and you have to be the one to kind of assess whether or not we're safe. Do I need to wake him up? We are given all of that in order for us to carry out our purpose. And so we are the ones, because we have a distinct purpose. We were given that gift. We are the ones We are the ones who are giving that. He was given something distinctly different. No less, no more, but different.
Yes.
Because he has a different role than we do. We have a certain role, and yet and still, again, we find ourselves in these very questionable situations because we have thrown the equilibrium of who we are off.
Right.
So that messaging that you would get that would cause you to go, no, I'm going to have to stop this. I'm going to have to address this. I'm going to have to advocate.
Advocate.
We silence that in order for us to continue, because in our society has told us that to be, like you're saying, with a piece of man or with a piece of relationship, it doesn't have to even be men. It can be just your girlfriendships. It could be your girlfriends. It could be family.
Yes.
That's a painful conversation to have when you are saying to a family member, you have overstepped. And because you have overstepped, I must now step back. That's a painful conversation to have, because that's blood. That's different. And so when these things happen and we have to do things that are self-honoring, meaning I have to do something. I have to say something. I have to stand up and advocate for me, not in a way that puts other people down, but in a way that honors me. And we're talking about mental health. You've got to understand all of that is a part of mental health, because what throws us into this place of stress and disease, all of this throws us into stress and disease and depression and all these types of things now have an end because we have practiced dishonoring ourselves.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely. And so I don't mean walk around with a complex and walk around being egotistical and walk around like you have more of a standard than anybody else. But I'm saying, listen to your body when it tells you that this isn't right. Even if it means I'm just going to stand on the sidelines until I figure out what my next move is. What I do know is this isn't right.
Right.
And we have to stop telling ourselves, well, you don't know what you're talking about, because our intuition does know what we're talking about. It's there for one purpose, to keep us safe. One purpose. And it gives us the cues necessary to keep us safe and to keep us sane. More than safe, to keep us sane. Right. Because if you're not in your right mind, you can't stand guard. You can't detect what's going on around you. If not, you're not in your right mind. And because we process emotions so differently, it's very easy for us to kind of fall off the deep end. It's very easy. Yeah. Because we are just built and we're constructed in that way. And so it's very important for us to understand who we are, how intricately we're woven together. Do things that are honoring to ourselves. Practice love, but start with yourself first.
Yes. Right. I agree.
Start with yourself first. We want everybody to love us, and we have yet to start the process of loving ourselves. Well, how do you know it when you get it? Because you have no idea, because you've never practiced it. So it's important for us to understand these things.
Laurenia, I think that kind of takes us into that self-awareness we talked about before. Yes. So being aware of what's happening within your relationship with someone, or within your relationship with coworkers, your friends, yourself, period, self-awareness. Let's talk about that.
So when we're talking about self-awareness, we're and acknowledging yourself. I like to say self-awareness, but you got to acknowledge yourself before you can even become self-aware.
Yes.
Us are so busy. Like I said, I'm a servant. We're so busy giving and pouring and nurturing and being there for everyone else that we forget that we matter too. We don't know how to prioritize ourselves. And again, like I said before, we are in a culture that tells us that it is selfish and self-centered, not understanding that if you don't do that, if you are never going to function optimally. If you don't do those things, stop, take care of yourself, acknowledge that, you know what, today I'm tired. I need to be able to say out loud to the people that are around me or to myself, you know what, I can leap tall buildings in a single bound, but today I'm tired.
That's right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in this bed and lay down because I'm tired.
Absolutely. So Nina says prioritize yourself. She says prioritize yourself. That's the biggest thing. Prioritize yourself.
Important. Prioritize yourself. And again, I'm not preaching being self-centered in a way that you are the only thing that matters.
Right.
I would be hypocritical because I'm a servant. So I'm always out there giving and pouring and doing. And so I'm not a hypocrite when it comes to that. But what I'm saying is I've learned how to listen when my body says. Now, not every single time, but even if it's just a 15-minute meditation, even if it's, okay, I'm home from work, but I'm sitting out in my driveway. Yeah, my family thinks I'm on a phone call. I'm not. I'm just sitting in the car, listening to a little bit of music. Getting in tune with myself, preparing myself to be able to give to them properly. I'm not doing a thing but sitting in my car. And sometimes I'm scrolling through my phone. Sometimes I'll just sit there in silence. Sometimes I'll listen to a little bit of music, get myself pumped up. Whatever I need in that moment, I've learned how to stop and acknowledge that this is the way I feel right now and act accordingly. So it's important for us to practice that.
I know that I know Oprah Winfrey talks about it all the time. She talks about making sure that your cup is filled and you're able to give everybody the overflow. Because I believe that a lot of, especially women, we work a lot on just being depleted. If we want to be honest.
Yes.
And because we wear so many different hats. So when we're moving around, when we're helping, when we're assisting, when we're giving, we're not giving it back to ourselves or putting ourselves as a priority. And then it depletes you. And the one thing that I do believe in, and I read a post where it says, the time period of when you're born and the day that you take your last breath is very short.
Absolutely.
And you find yourself when you get certain ages full of regret because you have given so much to people in the world and you have given so less to yourself. So this is good. This is good.
Absolutely. So when you know, oftentimes when you hear that question posed, if you had 24 hours to live, what would you do? You know, people talk about things like I'll travel or I'll eat my favorite dish or, you know, I'll spend time with the people that I love. I'll spend my money, whatever it is. But all of it is centered around I will do something that's meaningful to me.
Right.
But for whatever reason, when we feel like we have all the time in the world, we don't make those things a priority.
Right.
If all I had was 24 hours, I would make it a priority. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
important for us. It's important for us to check in with ourselves enough that we understand, especially when you're not operating in a way that's authentic. And again, you're giving. You're not feeding yourself. And so you're giving to people from a place of lack instead of from a place of abundance. That's hard because you're always going to feel unfulfilled. You're always going to feel, you're always going to feel like there's got to be more. You're always going to feel like, you know, I'm not satisfied. Rather than, you know, you're getting ready to come on encouraging word. Yeah, I've worked all day, but you know what? This is something that feeds me. It makes me so happy. It fills me up. And so when we don't even acknowledge, or when we're not even cued into ourselves enough to understand that these things actually exist, you miss it. You miss it. You miss the opportunity to even be a part of something that really just feeds you. And it's so important. It's so important, again, to the ecosystem, not just to yourself. Because when I'm good, trust me, a better parent to my kids. I am a better police officer. I'm a better clinician when I'm serving officers. I am a better everything. I'm a better friend. I actually want to answer the phone when you call me, you know, and if you got an issue, I want to sit with you in what that is. But when I'm operating from a place of depletion, wow, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So you know, it's important for us to really be in tune with who we are, what we need, acknowledge ourselves, you know, not just the purpose of being critical. Because a lot of us, that's the only time we acknowledge, ooh, I need to lose weight. I'm going to acknowledge myself just to tell myself what's wrong with me.
Right.
And rather than, I need to lose weight, but I'm still fine.
That's right.
I'm
Ooh.
Come on now. I'm still me.
I'm still
So you
that girl.
acknowledge yourself. You can acknowledge yourself and talk about your flaws,
Yes.
but it doesn't necessarily have to be, or your goals, not even a flaw, because when did needing to lose a little weight become a flaw? It's just a state of being. You need to lose a little weight. It is what it is. However, you see me, I'm so cute.
I'm still that girl.
You see, while we play with each other.
Now, Laurenia, we talk about all the different roles, all the responsibilities that a mom has, or anyone in general may have. How do we cope with that burnout? How to potentially not become burnout? How will we handle that? What does that look like?
So if you find yourself in a place where you are burnt out, first and foremost, like we said, you've got to acknowledge it, because you're not going to do anything about it unless you just want to be real and true and honest with yourself. It is
right.
You're in a place of depletion. But the good news is you can do something about that. When we're talking about being burnt out, it's little things. Hammer out a little bit of time for yourself. And again, it might start, like I said before, that little 15 minutes, and then you kind of work your way up, because oftentimes when you get to a place where you're burnt out, you have practiced, like Dr. Stormer just got through saying, you have practiced, and you have perfected being depleted. And
That's
so
right.
just like you have learned how to do that, you have to unlearn by practicing those self-care types of interventions. You've got to do stopping, hammering out a little time for yourself, taking a little time off, because a lot of us, we are so, and notice I'm saying we, because I'm guilty. We are so used to ripping and running that we don't understand that, there are times that you just need to stop. It was so funny because I was doing details every Sunday morning, going to the church or whatever. Our details got taken away. Someone offered me a new one today, and I said, you know what? I'm enjoying sleeping in on Sunday. I think I'm going to keep that. Yeah.
That's good.
I think I'm going to keep that. And so I've acknowledged the fact that I learned how to do without it, because I had to get up every Sunday to go to work. But now that I've got it back, and I realized that, wow, this is so beneficial, because I feel so much better to be, to worship the way I want to worship. I mean, I did it because for me, that's my belief system. I don't force belief onto anybody else, because I want everyone to feel like I'm embracing you, but understand that this is who I am. We can coexist, people. You don't have to believe what I believe, and you don't have to do what I do, but I'm telling you that because I matter, this is my belief system.
That's right.
And so for me, I like to be in my bed sometimes, just me and God, and having conversations. And just listen, checking in, am I doing good? Can I do better? And we have very, very honest conversations about, where are these areas that I need to shore up? Did I miss something? What do you want me to do next? So we're having these conversations like I'm having you with y'all. And so those things are very important to me. So I've learned how to, and so I say that to someone that's dealing with that. You've got to learn what feeds you. You've got to learn to be connected. There are times that I want to be connected to people, and there are times that I want to be connected to the spirit. There are times that I want to just be connected to my kiddos. There are times that I want to be there. And but I have to, if you're not self-aware, and I say I use me as the point of reference because I'm an expert on me. I use me, especially even when I'm talking to my clients, and I'm saying, this is me. When I'm burnt out, I need to be connected to that what fuels me. Whatever fuels me, whatever causes me to feel like, okay, I'm taking care of myself, I matter. And sometimes that's calling up my girls and saying, hey, when we going out?
That's right.
When we going out? Because, and you've got to have a crew that feeds you. And pours into you, and it can't always be, what's going wrong in my life? No. That's not what tonight is about, y'all.
No.
So
you gotta be able to divide it and separate this.
You gotta be able to. And so it's wonderful to have all, because again, we weren't created to be alone.
That's right.
We were created by God, in my opinion, in my belief system, to be in relationship. And so that runs the gamut.
Yes.
From your children to your family, to your, you know, your spouse, to your work relationships, to your church relationships, to, you know, just Joe Schmo. We were born to be in relationship. And so that fuels you sometimes. And so we might be depleting ourselves, serving other people, but not connecting and being in relationship. And so oftentimes that causes a feeling of depletion as well.
Right.
Yes.
So those are the things that I would tell someone if they're like, you know, I'm burnt out. It's like the first question I'm going to ask is, what fuels you?
Yes.
What makes you feel seen, acknowledged, loved? What are those things? I don't listen. I know the DSM-5 inside and out. I got one sitting on my bed right now. But when I'm talking to people, I'm just talking to people.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm just talking to people, because all that jargon does nothing for you.
Right. That's so interesting, because when I think about it, it's crazy, because I tell people all the time, I'm very spiritual, and I go to my Bible a lot because it's just where it grounds me. And I recognize that when I'm moving at such a fast pace, God would take me off course to where I have to sit back and say, okay, God, I hear you. I'm not spending time with you. I'm not spending time with Storm. I'm not feeding or fueling myself that I can do your will, because that's when you think about it, that's what we're doing. So even when we're talking about being service, even when we're talking about self-love, a lot of that can be unknown to any of us if we don't know what that looks like, or how to even have self-love for yourself, because the world would tell you that when you're selfish to yourself or selfish to other, you're wrong. But then it's the mindset that plays, because a lot of things, of course, we know that the enemy works in the mind. And when we talk about mental health, I would say, is it all in the mind?
Absolutely.
Okay. I agree.
Absolutely. God himself said, you know, the world was conceptualized in the mind before it was brought into physical being. And so listen, sis be in her word every day. Don't get it twisted.
That's one thing I tell folks. Listen, I know my Bible.
But in the word every day. And
That's
so
right.
because again, if we don't understand, again, ourselves, if we don't understand how this thing, because this thing can make or break us.
That's right.
If I'm pouring into myself every day, I'm giving myself positive feedback. I'm having good sound conversations with myself. I'm you know, the people that are around me are pouring into me and really giving me good feedback. Not lying to me, but giving me good feedback. And sometimes good feedback is telling you need to tighten up. So giving me good feedback. Yes, I said what I said. Sometimes good feedback is saying you need to tighten up. You're better than that. And I love people like that around me in my crew, because I have blind spots. And so because think about it. If I get up today and I tell myself I'm tired, I'm gonna go through this entire day being tired.
Yeah, I'm tired.
That's right.
If I wake up in the morning and I tell myself I'm ready, I'm physically a little bit tired, but I'm ready to meet this day. Lord, whatever you got for me, I'm ready for it. And you get dressed, you put on a good wig. Ooh. And you get yourself situated. You know, you on a little lip gloss and you keep it moving. And you just greeting the day, and you're doing so with gratitude and joy. And you're going to tell me that you're going to feel depleted? No. You're telling yourself what kind of day I'm going to have. You're telling yourself how this thing is going to go. And if we don't give ourselves, your body is so intricate. It blows your mind.
Yeah.
Your thought life, the things that you think about as a man thinketh, so is he. Don't make me start quoting.
Come on. You about to have me shouting up in here.
Listen, that wasn't something that was just written. That is true. As a man thinketh, so is he.
That's right.
It is written. I didn't come up with that. I'm not that good. I am not that brilliant. As a man thinketh. Yes, it does begin in your mind. It absolutely does. Whatever you tell, what do they say? Whether you tell it good or whether you tell it bad, you're right anyway, because that's the outcome you're going to get.
That's right.
That is the outcome. So it is. It has a lot of, your thought life, it has a lot of power.
That's good.
A lot of power.
Right. So, Laurenia, as we talk about mental health, there's like several myths that I was able to find. We're going to play a little game. So when I'm going to look at the myths, I want you to tell me some truth behind it. Okay. One thing that I discovered was it stated that it's a sign of weakness. Mental health is a sign of weakness. What's your thoughts on that?
Again, we just talked about as a man thinketh. And so your thought life is really what is the basis for your mental health. Right. And so, if I'm taking care of my mental health, that is the strongest position as a human being that you can have. Right. There's nothing weak about it. To say that I'm having a moment, I'm struggling right now, I need some help. You know, I need to throw out a lifeline, and I need someone to help me out. Absolutely. The strongest position as a human being that we can take. So no, that it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
Come on now.
That's good.
You've acknowledged yourself.
Yes.
And you boldly express, I need help. Yeah. And I believe that, especially in our culture, those words are so difficult to say. I need help. It's okay.
Because it's synonymous with weakness. To say I need help is synonymous with weakness. And to say I need help doesn't necessarily have positive connotations to it. So a lot of us shy away, and I say us because I've been guilty of it. A lot of us shy away from just reaching out because it's what's the perception of me reaching out and saying I need help. Mind you, I think I've shared with Ashley some of the deep, dark places that I've been over the course of my life. My 29-year-old is special needs. He didn't start out that way. At 7 years old, he was hit by a car. He wasn't expected to live. He was comatose for 4 months. Please understand that I was in a dark place.
Yes.
Had I not gotten some help, had that same God that I believed in didn't lead me to someone that threw a lifeline to help me out of that dark place, I wouldn't be standing here or sitting here having this conversation with y'all tonight. And that's my truth. And I'm not ashamed of it.
I know you're right.
Come on. Absolutely. So,
So another thing we discovered was it stated that mental health issues only show up when you're older.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We see little ones showing signs of trauma exposure. So very early, because again, we don't start being human when we get old. Yes. Mind you, we start, if you're saying when my baby is in my belly and you play music and you talk, it starts that nurturing process. It starts that development process. These are children that, come out and they tend to function a little bit higher. They're a little higher functioning. That you're going to tell me that all of these things wait till you get older? No,
it doesn't.
You go to a lot of these, I would say inner city schools, not even just inner city schools. You go period to any circumstance or situation, any entity where you have children concentrated, and just watch the way that they move, and you can tell.
It talks a lot. It's firsthand with it, and one of the things that I always say, I have an open door policy. It doesn't matter what I am doing in a run of a day. When my students walk through that door, everything stops.
Yeah,
I would get off a medium. I would get off whatever I'm doing to listen. And I'm also the type of principal, if I have to pull out some tissue paper and we go cry this thing out together, we go argue this thing out together, we go disagree. But at the same time, you're human.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just because I'm an adult and you're a child, I still need to hear what you're feeling and your thoughts. Because when you talk about that nurturing process, we play such a big role with that.
Absolutely we do.
So that was a good question.
Yes.
That was really good.
I'm telling you, as I sit in my office each day, I don't care how busy I am. If one of my kids show up to my door, I'm pausing. What's wrong? That's the first thing I say. What's wrong? I just want to come say hi. And it just melts my heart to know that I'm the first person they're thinking about as they're walking through the office like they shouldn't be. But I'm the first person they think about trying to have that quick conversation just to see my face, especially if I'm not out and about in the hallway. So
because at
when you think about the
some point
suicide,
you acknowledge them, did you not?
Yeah.
At some point
that's
you acknowledge
good.
and as humans,
Sometimes they just want to be acknowledged.
that's it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
And I'm telling you, I walk through the hallways and I'm going to say, I love your hair. Those small little compliments play a part in those kids' lives.
It makes a difference from actually being seen and whether saying maybe if I commit suicide, maybe they'll see me there.
Absolutely.
But it's a whole nother topic.
That is
a profound message when you take your life. So that's not a shameful thing. It's for us to understand what was that person going through, what was happening in that moment, and what are you trying to tell me through this act? Because you're telling me something. You're telling me something. You're telling me part of your story. You're telling me, how deeply you were in. Because again, if you've never been, because I was one of those people that thought I was so strong that I would never, ever. Girl, please.
Right.
When I watched my baby laying there and I could do nothing.
Nothing about it.
Yeah. Listen, I have never contemplated, planned, and had every intention of executing my own plan. Why? Because I felt so hopeless. Hopeless is a thing. And hopeless will take you to some places that you've never expected to go.
Let me tell you.
I'm sorry.
We got silent all of a sudden.
When we talk about hope.
Silent all of a sudden.
Because you know what? I believe that between faith and hope is one of those most powerful tools that we have amongst so others. Yes. But when you talk about the possibilities of hope keeps you moving forward. When you don't see, it don't have a direction or no way. And when we talk about life and tragedies and just experimenting certain things, I can remember in 2018, I didn't know what hope was. That my mom sat and looked at me and she was like, hey, don't do nothing crazy when I've experienced a tragedy. And I'm just looking at her like, well, what are you talking about? Being checked out, but I had to find that hope and faith again.
Absolutely.
So that was good because as Black women, we some strong, independent women, right? I can't always say so long time ago
about that because it's not a fallacy to say that we're strong because we are. It's not a fallacy to say that we can hold our own because we do. It's not a fallacy to say that we holds it down because we do.
That's right.
At the end of the day, because that is all we are, then we don't get to be the other stuff.
Right.
We don't get to be hurt. We don't get to be vulnerable. We don't get to be sad. We don't get to struggle. We don't get to do those things because all we are is strong.
Yeah.
And capable. And all we are. And so my thing is, and so we end up suffering in silence so much because we don't acknowledge. There's that word again. We don't want to acknowledge where we are and what we're going through because again, there's no space for us to just truly just be our authentic selves.
Right.
We can be all that in a bag of chips, but we can also be human and treat it in a humane way as well. We can be all of it. All of it. Yeah.
I have gotten to the point now in my good 21 years of living. We call ourselves young tenderonis.
Tender.
I have gotten to the place, Miss Laurenia, where I would verbally say, I don't have it together. I'm not strong today. I don't want to be strong today. I just want to lay and cry. Give me a moment. Let me just cry in the car right fast and then I'll come back. And it takes so much, especially as African American women, to acknowledge those things. And when we talk about, therapy, is therapy only good for people with severe problems? But what would you say? Okay.
Absolutely not. Again, it's called maintenance. It's called maintenance.
That's good. I like that.
And so, like everything else, put it like this. from Monday through Friday, you've got to be to work. And so if your alarm clock goes off at 7 o'clock, or if your alarm clock goes off at 6 or 5, oftentimes we are so programmed that we'll get up before the alarm clock goes off. And then we'll lay there, wait for the alarm clock, and then we'll wrestle with it for a little bit, you know, go snooze and all that type of stuff. Mind you, you were up before the clock even went off, because again, that's literally what we all do. It's a human experience. And so, but we have programmed ourselves to care for other people, meaning I'm going to get up and I'm going to go serve. Why is it wrong for us to program ourselves?
That's right.
To care about ourselves. And so one of the things that we do when we go and we seek therapy, my standing appointment, because mind you, even though I'm a clinician, there are times that I need to talk to somebody, because all I'm doing is taking on people's traumas. All I'm doing is, you know, I'm taking on people's experiences. I'm trying, because I don't know, I have not perfected the art of helping someone without getting in the trenches with you. Because I get in there with you. And so it's a shared experience. It's a shared experience. Yeah, so I don't know how to do it from the sidelines. So I'm getting in there with you. And there comes a point, because mind you, I still have a life to live. And it's very involved. I've got a lot to do. I did tell you that I have a 29-year-old that's special needs. He's a whole entity by himself, and he demands a whole level of time and effort and energy all by himself. And that has nothing to do with my jobs and all this other stuff, and my other child. You know, sometimes God bless him, sometimes he's just there, but he understands the tapestry of what our life looks like. So it is important for us to, if you have to, it will become second nature if we practice it. If you practice self-care, it will become an automatic response. Yes, it can. Yes. It will become an automatic. On Tuesday at 5 o'clock, I go and I take that little time for myself. I'll go to the gym, or, you know, I go together with or I go see my therapist, and I unburden myself. And I have that moment where I'm acknowledging myself, and then I'm acknowledging my experiences, and I'm acknowledging what I'm going through, because what I do want to do is show up as my best self. And so I cannot do that if I don't acknowledge the woman in the mirror. So it's important for us to, and if therapy is what you need to do, sweetheart, go do it. Yes. I always tell people, don't just pick a therapist. Interview a therapist like you interviewing an employee, because you are.
Yes, you do. That's good.
That's good. And so you guys have got to gel. You have got to feel a level of comfort. You've got to feel like this person sees and acknowledges you. You've got to they have to understand that you are a priority in that moment when you are sitting there across from them. All these things are so important for you to do when you are vetting someone that you're going to share your most intimate experiences with. You're getting ready to enter into a relationship.
Ooh,
so
you are
willy-nilly with that individual. So just like you would get up and tell that guy that you don't want to see him no more, that's exactly what you're going to do if you don't find a therapist that's a good fit. She goes, it's not working out. It's not you. You're going to have that conversation, and you're going to exit stage left and go find someone that you truly connect with.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, if you find someone that's good for you, oh man, the work that you can get done. Oh, amazing. And you look forward to your appointments.
That's good.
Oh man, you'll be there early and such.
Waiting for them.
Listen.
Get your coffee before you come. Oh, Miss Laurenia.
It's my AC. That's my AC. There you go. I told y'all.
Okay. It's okay. It was actually perfect timing, so it's totally okay. Mm-hmm. I honestly think, guys, if this information was great, I need you to drop some hearts in the chat, some fire in the chat, show us some love. We see the comments popping up, but the conversation's so good, we can't just stop it in the middle. So we do apologize for that. But I just want to let you guys know, Laurenia, you're there.
She's coming.
There she goes. Perfect.
Girl, I told you my AC went out. Let's just be real.
No, I know it's totally okay. And we love the fact that you still continue to thrive and work with us tonight. That was just some great information that you dropped for our followers and yours as well.
Yes, that was
one thing I do want to say is when it comes to mental health, what I like to describe it as is where it's like an injury that you have on the inside that you got. It's like a band.
I'm feeling that one, Ash.
You can't see it, but you feel it, and you know it's a problem there. You got that band-aid, you're trying to rip it off, you know, and that's just what it feels like with mental health. You want someone to understand it, and just understand what's going on in your mind, but they can't see it. If that makes sense. That's something that I personally have been getting through, and thank God for therapy and the Word of God, because baby, y'all will not see Ashley D to this day if I didn't have the two. Just being honest.
But think about what you just said, Ash. I really wanted to just draw on that for just a minute, if you would allow me. You said injury on the inside. We have no issue with acknowledging and dealing with an injury on the outside. But the injury on the inside, because you can't readily see it, we ignore it. And we allow it to fester until it gets to a place where we're showing symptoms of depression. We're showing symptoms of anxiety. We're showing symptoms of suicidality. We're showing all sorts of bipolar, manic depressive. We're showing all sorts of symptoms because we refuse to acknowledge the symptoms when there was an onset of the symptoms. We didn't acknowledge it then, and we allowed it to continue to proliferate. And so I appreciate that, because I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, I got you, girl. You
that
got
was
it.
good.
I'm telling you,
That was good. That was
when
good.
it looks like in your home, you just have clutter. You just don't know what to do. And I've personally seen it myself. So that's just what I want my fathers to understand, is that this is what mental health looks like. This is what depression can potentially look like. Don't be afraid to get the help that you need. I don't care what medication they prescribe for you. Try it. You never know what will work for you to help restore your mind and get back to you. So don't be afraid of that. But I really wanted everyone to have an understanding, a greater understanding about mental health, what it looks like, how to get the services. I want them to know how to follow you. Laurenia, let the followers know your social media handles. Please shout it out.
How can you be?
I do a horrible job with this social media thing, but here we go. So the name that's on the screen, that's my Facebook, Laurenia Fahie. Not LMHC, just Laurenia Fahie. You can find me on Facebook under my name. Please follow me if you so wish. On Instagram, I am Strategy Sessions LLC. Strategy Sessions LLC. That's on my Instagram. And I so believe that my son set up a TikTok, and it's probably under Strategy Sessions as well.
Yes.
I believe.
Yes. I'm here for it.
This was so good, Miss Laurenia. You know what? I love when we're able to just sit at the table and just eat the fruit, especially for our generation, and to just get these life learned nuggets, because it's so important, because technically we're raising the next generation.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And that's what it's about, and when it talks about self-care, it's such a dominant topic, but it's still a healing process.
Yes.
It's still a topic that we have not mastered yet.
Nope.
But we're on our way.
Absolutely. And it literally starts, like we've been talking about on that, just acknowledging. And from there, you can foster that awareness, that self-awareness, where you kind of like just really in tune with yourself. You get you're able to hear those cues and respond to those cues when you get them from your body. Because again, your body is faithful. It was made by He who is and is to come. Hallelujah. Anyway, so I'm messing with y'all. So it's made in such a way, and if we truly, those of us who believe in God, if we believe that God is not going to fail us, why would He believe that He will encase us in a body that's going to fail us? He doesn't.
Right.
So He's given our bodies the ability to give us those cues that we need in order to care for ourselves. So we just need to learn to find art of acknowledging yourself, becoming self-aware, and going from there to taking care, learning how to practice self-care. And again, don't jump off the mountain. It's like, January 1st, everybody's going to lose 301 pounds. And it's like, sweet pea. Start small. Sometimes you start small. Those small little consistency is what causes. Because you can start out. I mean, you can start out going to the gym every day for 12 hours. But if you can keep it up, If you can't make that a practice and allow that to become a part of your life and become consistent in that, it's not going to be lasting. And so from there we learn how to be consistent, and we learn how to honor ourselves and practice self-love, because you can't practice self-care if you don't understand what it means to love you in all your glory. And so, we're going to love ourselves when I lose that weight. I'm going to love myself when I find that perfect spouse. I'm going to love myself when I fit into that size 6 pair of jeans. I'm going to love myself when I do all these types of things. And it's like, okay, the fact that you have that caveat until you'll never get there, because until you start now where you are, you'll never get to that place. Because when you start nurturing and loving on yourself, then those types of things that you identify as being things that you need to do to self-care, like lose weight, like eat a healthy diet, like get some rest, like go out with your friends every so often, like take some time off from work, you won't do those things because you have not acknowledged the woman in the mirror, the man in the mirror. You need to do that before you get to those other things, and you learn how to love on yourself, who you are, where you are, what you are.
No? Yes. And whose you are. Come on.
Listen. Hallelujah.
Man, this was such great conversation, I must say.
It was good.
I mean, I felt like I was in a therapy session.
I'm eating it all up.
I love it. I kid you not. I just want to say, when we talk about small beginnings, I remember when we started this podcast, I literally sat in my office the other day, and I looked and I was like, man, we got a catalog.
Yeah.
We got a whole catalog now.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing feeling to know that it was just a small thought.
Never despise small beginnings.
Come on.
Oh, listen, don't despise small beginnings, right?
Yeah. And to see where we're at episode 10, and we're closing off this season with Miss Laurenia Fahie.
And what I love about, the Encouraging Woman podcast is this. Every single time I tune in, and I try to tune in as much as I can, and if I don't watch it at the time, I watch it afterwards. But I try to do it live because that's when it's most fun. You guys have remained, remember we just said consistent? You remain consistent with giving positive, encouraging, substantive content.
Wow, that's good.
Because sometimes you go into some of the other podcasts, and again, like Ash said, not throwing shade or anything of that. That's not your format. Stay in your lane. And your lane has been just truly feeding and nourishing. And wow, I'm so proud of you two. I'm so proud of your consistency that, I don't care if one person's watching or 100 or 1,000 or 1 million, because you don't know. If God sees you being faithful with this, you never know where he will take what you're doing. And so remain consistent, stay in your lane, continue putting out this positive, encouraging content. And won't he do it? You'll see what he'll do.
Every time. This morning I got to work and I was just like, God, I'm empty.
Yes.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
I think about how many people rely on me every single day.
Yes.
And I just closed my door in my office and I said, God, I'm so empty. I can't do this podcast.
You're making me cry.
God said, I got you. Don't worry, I have you today. And as I was getting dressed, I was like, let me do my makeup on, my wig. It's like, it's going to be okay. And I pray that this message helps the next woman, whatever vision God has put in your life, whatever you're trying to birth, continue at it. Everyone has to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. I don't care what it may be. You try. And God will reward you. He's going to see what you're doing. He's going to reward you for every little thing you're doing. So I pray that whoever is going through the same thing that Ashley D was dealing with today, because I was so empty.
Yes.
And today, my cup just runneth over tonight.
Yeah, you got to, because it's one of those things where before we get on this podcast, the one thing that we do consistently is that we pray.
Yes.
And as Ashley, it seemed like every time we get on the podcast, me and Ashley would talk every day for hours. But when it's a podcast, that we don't talk.
No.
it is almost as if God is saying, I need to use you to where it is authentic, because as she's talking about feeling empty, I had to leave my school today to go sit on my grandma's couch because of the simple fact she's in hospice. And I was telling my cousin, I said to her, as an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what we are dealing with on the inside, I still got to show up. You do. And just as much as she's feeling empty, I'm feeling like, I'm watching my 95-year-old grandmother, and thank God for 95 years, but she's still my grandma. And to see her sitting in that bed and to know that I had to show back up to Red Learning, I had to get on the podcast and put on my good makeup and my good natural hair.
Come on now. Don't forget it.
But to
Come on, natural hair.
and to give myself to the audience, it's one of those things where it's definitely a God thing. It's a God's movement.
Yes.
And when we started in January, I told Ashley, I'm gonna go. Like I always say, Dr. Storm was just coming on to get her started.
I did her interview, y'all.
And it's like, it's amazing because everything I do, I lay it before the Lord. And when it comes to the podcast, we are so intentional about showing up, being consistent. I tell you all, nothing is scripted. We come here and it's showtime. I move out of the hat of Dr. Storm, and I mean Dr. McCullough become Dr. Storm, no matter if I just cried in my car. But guess what? I have to show up because I always say, our ancestors stood for us. We got to stand for them.
Yes, we do.
Because we don't know whose lives that we're touching. So, the Bible said, get your flowers. So
come on now.
We just overwhelmed and overjoyed, and I knew it was something when she put this box of tissue sticks, and I'm looking at her like, why you tissue box here? And I'm like, not today, Ashley, not today. So this was so good, Miss Laurenia, because as a young entrepreneurs, and I say young because we're in our 30s and we're just really trying to figure it out as career women and moms and just Christian women and staying true to what God. It's hard to follow Christ. Let's talk about it.
It's the biggest challenge.
No,
it's the biggest.
We over time, y'all. But I tell my students all the time, because we are a Christian school, and I have to let them know the tangible side of me. I don't want to do the right thing every day.
Yes.
I know. That's just the reality of it. Sometimes I just want to, when they tell me how they feel, I want to tell you how I feel and put some words on it.
Absolutely.
But I know that, it's one of those things where when God says that, and Michelle Bowman said all the time, when people go low, you go high. And it's hard. And it's hard to put into people when your cup is empty. Because you go through different phases of life. So this was good.
Absolutely. Ash, I'm so grateful that you came on tonight. You put on your good wig and you came on. Like I told y'all right before, my AC's out. They got the guy out there working on it right now in the middle of the night. And Storm, I'm God bless your grandma. God bless grandma. And I'm grateful for this opportunity myself. I'm grateful for the opportunity to just share, my journey and share, what God has given me to give to the world. And it's not easy. It comes at a cost. That's my tag. I said nothing we do comes easy. Everything comes at a cost. It's just a matter of what cost you want to pay that particular day. And so when I'm sitting in here, it comes at the cost that I'm not sitting out there with my son, who's probably watching TV right now, wondering where his mama at. And my other son that's sitting there wondering what's taking her so long. So everything that we do comes at a cost, whether it's a big cost or a little cost. I always say it may cost you a lot, it can't cost you a little, but it's going to cost you. And so, but I'm grateful for every opportunity that's hammered out, every instance that you have to give of these gifts that you have been so richly given. It's hard, there's no part, and I have read. I told you I stay in my word all day. Not all day, but I get in there every day. And it's so funny because I'm so I'm so programmed that if I fall asleep and I hadn't read, I'll wake back up because it's part of my routine. So that's the beautiful thing. Like it kind of goes and it segues into what we were talking about earlier. When certain things become a part of your routine, you don't even have to try anymore. So we've got to kind of propel ourselves into these new routines that are good for us. These things that'll really feed our souls and nourish us. And so when the times get hard, and they will, mind you, life happens with or without your permission. With or without your permission. If you're here, it's going to happen. And if you're gone, it's going to happen until the good Lord decides that game over. It's going to happen with or without your permission. And so when we aren't prepared and our minds aren't right and we're not rooted and grounded in something, and for me, it's in the word. If I'm not rooted and I'm not grounded, there by the grace of God go I. And I can tell that that's exactly what you young ladies are saying as well. I say young because I'm a seasoned, mature woman of a particular age.
Get us together.
Just saying. However, these things, it's important for us to acknowledge, that yes, life be life in sometimes. But you know what? We pray and we trust and we believe and we hold fast and we know that who we are serving, has our best interest at heart. Not only does he have our best interest at heart, he has a plan for us, And so, we just have to trust the process and trust the plan. Trust the process and trust the plan. And sometimes it means that, I'm going to have to throw on the wig because the hair ain't done. And, I'm going to be sitting in the house, but I'm going to be pouring. I'm going to do what I have to do to serve, because what I do want, and it sounds to me like you want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant.
That's the only, I tell anybody, I do what I do because my obedience is better than my sacrifice, because I know I am put here for God's purpose. And when I have completed my task, I have no more life here. So it's important to get out of my way and allow God to do what he's doing. And trust me, it's a challenge, because some days I don't want to do it. That's just
that's the thing. And that's the fallacy with people that believe. We oftentimes we don't understand that, like God, you're having a human experience. You are encased in this body. You are yet straddling and having this spiritual experience and this spiritual relationship with him. Mm-hmm. But you still have to contend with this humanness that is you. Ooh. And so when the humanness keeps coming and knocking, you have to have these methodologies in place in order to quell some of those instincts that we have as humans to snatch somebody, you know? And so, but we can acknowledge that too, that right now I'm feeling like I don't want to. And it's so funny because I always crack up with my relationship with God. We have the funniest conversations. And sometimes when I'm acting the fool and I'm not acting right and I'm not, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and when and I can almost see him just shaking his head like, my daughter's so stupid. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with you. I love you still, but yeah, I don't even know what to do with you. But so, we have to acknowledge that, yes, that doesn't make me less of a believer. It doesn't make me less of a Christ follower. It doesn't make me less of anything, because he knew you were human. He created you. So the fact that you act human now and again, he knows. So we beat ourselves up for that. And even that causes us to have this unsettled, this dis-ease in our.
Absolutely.
Because we don't want to acknowledge that, yes, I feel this way. I'm not feeling uber spiritual today. I don't want to go to the throne of grace and lift my hands and lay prostrate before the Lord, because I'm good and hot. I'm mad. And so I'm hurt. I'm contending with my feelings. And so, I'm even right now feeling like God is forsaking me. These are things that, especially us believers, we don't want to say out loud because we believe that that's God honoring. No, it's not. You remain sound in your mental health when you can even acknowledge that I'm having a moment. And I like to say God has broad shoulders. You're saying that first and foremost, it didn't surprise him. And secondarily, he knew you before he knew. So he knew that whatever happened was going to cause that reaction in you. So sit down and stop beating yourself up so much and allow yourself to feel. Now, don't go react and don't go do that thing. But acknowledge that, you know what, right now, that's the way I feel. And that's okay. That is okay. He still love you. He still love you. He absolutely still loves you.
He does. All the time. That grace and mercy is one of the best formats.
Ain't that a good thing though? Because if he were like us.
I thank God for it daily. I do. Yes. Yeah, this is good. Y'all got me crying. I put my makeup on today.
This was really good.
No, it's important. It's important for us, especially as Black women, and men. Don't forget our men, because we love our men.
No, please, please.
Yes, we love our men, and so it's important for us to, and not just Black women, for women and for men and for humanity, for us to really acknowledge who we are and become self-aware and start taking care of ourselves and acknowledge that and understand that is the highest form of worship. Yes. Because now you loving what he loves. Look at you.
Yeah. I don't do nothing without him. I'm a praying, Miss Laurenia, I am a praying woman. Yes. I have gotten this far and so much more to go because I believe in my Heavenly Father. I don't been through too much not to.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud that I have become to a place to say my vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. Yes. And I'm not trying to be perfect for nobody.
And you know what's another interesting factor, Dr. Storm, if you don't mind me interrupting for 1 second? Us as people that believe oftentimes don't want to acknowledge mental health because we believe that those two things don't coexist.
That's right.
If I'm a believer, I can't say that I'm depressed. If I'm a believer, I can't possibly, because we believe in, well, go pray about it. Well, there's a reason that God created professionals in this arena. There's a reason he did that, because he acknowledged that this is one of the things as in our human experience that we were going to come up against. And he was going to put those protections in place by way of practitioners to help us. Yes. So that we can, because if my mind is bogged down, if I'm depressed, if I'm having some sort of episode, whether it be anxiety, bipolar, whatever it is, do you think I can cry out to God and do it in a way that it's really no, you're not even thinking about it. That's so it's important for our soundness mental, in order for us to be spiritual, in order for us to practice our belief system, in order for us to go before the throne, we've got to have some level of, and even if it's okay, I'm sad today, it doesn't mean that I'm so incoherent that I can't connect with my higher source. And so, when we go too far into left field, it prevents us from being able to truly cry out. And so that is not what God wants for us. It is not what he wants for us. And so he gave us practitioners. He gave us professionals in order for us to be able to function. And we can pray, we can reach out, we can prophesy, we can go and we can serve. All these things that are so God honoring, we can't do optimally when we are separated in the form of some sort of mental health issue. So we've got to understand we are got to operate in our wholeness. We have to, and it's so important for us to acknowledge that and don't shame each other.
Oh no,
don't shame each other when we're having a moment.
That's right.
Be there for each other. Love on each other.
That's why I told her, get it out, talk about it.
Love on each other. Be there. Because at this point, you've got to have people in your space that even acknowledge that, girl, you don't seem like yourself. You don't. You
gotta have a safe place.
Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have that. Not only that, you have to have people that love you enough to say, sis, you gotta go talk to somebody.
That's right.
You gotta do that.
The transparency.
So, yeah. So awesome.
Good stuff. We appreciate you so much, Laurenia. I promise.
It's been my pleasure. It's been my
Our
pleasure.
audience is so pleased. Your audience as well, Dr. Storms as well. We just want to again say thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And we just have a surprise for everyone.
Yeah.
Why y'all thought this was the last episode, you are sadly mistaken.
Sadly.
We are actually going to have our very own Father's Day special.
Like the final.
This is the final to the final.
Yes.
For season 1.
Okay.
So we're
On
going to have
June 11th.
the man on.
Yes, it's going to be June 11th at 8:30 p.m.
Yes.
with none other than our good friend Tari LaFavor. He's going to talk about fatherhood and that journey, that experience that a lot of men go through that needs to be talked about. So we never want to forget about our He Speaks
That's
audience.
right.
Awesome.
It's important.
Awesome.
And our street,
Yes.
we need them.
We need them. We need our
Yes,
we need
we
our
do.
those too.
We do.
We got to
We do.
uplift them.
My
We
man, my
absolutely-
man.
You know, somebody said my husband.
Thank
Come
you.
on now.
Husband.
Listen. I listen. That's all I call him. My hubby. When he
Yes.
my hubby. My
That
husband.
part.
Absolutely.
The Bible says you better speak things as if it's already happened.
Yes.
Those things that aren't as though they
Yes.
are.
And
Listen.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And thank you to our tech team, both your tech team, our tech team. We're collaborating together to make this happen. We want to thank our sponsors, everyone who continues to help our audience grow, everyone that has liked, shared, commented, subscribed. We appreciate you all on our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all our platforms. We thank y'all so very much. We pray that this episode was very uplifting for you to give you some insight on ways to continue to grow mentally.
That's right.
Yes,
Thank you. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep reviewing.
Yes.
You know, anything that you all want to see, let us know.
Hit us in the
We
DMs.
are here to serve you.
Yes. Come on.
Yes.
This is good.
Yes.
Servants.
Talk about it. Thank you so much, guys. And we will see you on June the 11th.
That's right.
Have a good night.